Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner. Today's episode is going to be a deck profile, and it'll be on, well, ironically enough, a deck that just got really popular over the last weekend that I've been testing for the last while, and that is Chaos Dragons. You've seen me use this in a lot of videos as of late on Dueling Network, and I've been meaning to get you guys an update on this, but I wanted to take it to locals first and just get some experience with the deck outside of a Dueling Network setting where A, there are less retarded people, and B, the randomizer is not bullshit because I'm shuffling the deck, and Dueling Network's randomizer is notoriously bad in addition to how much it hates milling. Now, as for my thoughts on Chaos Dragons following not only them getting a victory in France, but second place in Dallas, that will be a video in itself. But I just want to give you guys my deck and how it's looking at this point. There are changes I do want to make after seeing what topped and what won, as I noticed some things happening with this deck that I don't like, and the guys actually pointed it out very well, like 3 Darkest Metals. That's far too much. And as far as my other dragon deck, Disaster here, it's also been updated for pre-Galactic Overlord. Once that comes out, I will have to change this a little bit, but yeah, I've got my Disaster Dragon updated here, and if you want to see that, let me know in the comments below, and I can do a quick video on that. Shouldn't take too long. And that's it. I'll go over this deck list and just give you my thoughts along the way. Yeah, I took this to locals this weekend. I won with it. Not really that surprising. It's a pretty decent deck. It's just a bit reliant on like a couple things going your way, like what you mill. My version isn't nearly as consistent as the ones at top, so changes will need to be made. Said 3 Pulsar, Dark Flare, Darkness Metal Dragons. Yeah, 1's going out for sure. 3 is way too much. They're searchable through Clips Wyvern, and you mill so damn much that 1 is probably going to hit the graveyard anyway, so you really only need 2. 1 Dark Auto-Wind Dragon and 2 Eclipse Wyvern. 3 is also just far too much. You're milling a fair bit, and you really only are searching out 2 cards out of this entire deck, Dark Arm and Darkest Metal Dragon, so you only just need the 2. And again, if 1 hits the graveyard and you have no more targets for it in the deck, your opponent technically has the right to check you. Then 1 Blackluster Soldier of Retardedness, 1 Chaos Sorcerer. This guy's actually been putting in some work. I almost kind of want to put Arcanite Magician into the extra deck, because I can just go this guy, then Veiler, and then pop more back row. But then again, this guy plus like Pulsar equals Inzektor Excavito, which sadly I'm not running right now, but I will. Then for defensive finishers, I'm running 6 Hand Traps, 2 Trag, 1 Gorz, and 3 Veiler. You have to run these in this type of deck, especially since it doesn't use trap cards. The Veilers especially, otherwise you will lose the bullshit like windups and all that other stuff. Trag and Gorz keep you from losing, and they will be very useful in the coming month or so when Heretics come out. Then after that, I've got my Lightsworn engine of 3 Raikou and 1 Lala. Definitely taking this one up to 2. 5 Lightsworns are much better than just 4. They provide just field removal. Raikou's like Snowman Eater, except it can hit back row and it sets up your graveyard more. Lala forces out Bottomless and Warnings and such forth, otherwise you'll just hit those back row. And they mill another Lala, so definitely better. And I might even tech in an Aaron because it gets rid of shit like Sangan and Wind Up Zembanes and Gachi Gachi. And Maestro Symphony Din in a couple days. Then I've got 2 Tech Spirit Reaper. Stall card. It's a dark, so it helps up with my chaos plays, and it knocks shit out of the hand. Plus these are level 3, so I can in theory go set Reaper, it doesn't die, then on my next turn have Card Trooper mill 3 and then make something like Acid Golem, Giga Brilliant, or Leviathan Dragon. Just I didn't actually exceed it all that much this weekend, except for just a Utopia, but it's there. Double Card Trooper, mill, gets past turn 1 Thunder King and turn 1 Stratos by beating over them or beating with them, and then you get a draw. Very useful card. Very useful. 1 Tech Divine Dragon Apocalypse. Pretty monster heavy deck, and you can just use it to recycle your Darkness Metal Dragon and your Dark Armed or even your Light Pulsar, and then just simply banish cards from the graveyard and move it again. Pretty sacky play would be pitch Eclipse Wyvern, get Pulsar back, Eclipse Wyvern removes a card, then you remove that Eclipse Wyvern with the whatever, and it just kind of goes from there. Plus, again, classic play, get Darkness Metal Dragon back to your hand. And then finally went Debris Dragon, because I'm running quite a few targets for it, and this deck can still synchro a little bit. Level 7s and level 6s, and Black Rose Dragon still wins games. Spear Reaper plus Trooper, Black Rose or Ancient Fairy, Orient Dragon or Iron Chain Dragon with this guy as well. Then for the spells, triple MST. I'm not exactly convinced on dropping this from the deck entirely. I mean, yes, those builds at top ran so much back row hate in the form of Lila and Raikou and such forth, but I just feel that not having this in the main deck could be a huge liability. It's something I might have to experiment with, I'm not too sure. Pot of Duality for some consistency fixing. These may or may not go, I'm not too certain. They were helpful in getting to a Future Fusion, getting to Dark Hole, and like other limited cards. Every time I got a Pot of Duality off, I always picked up some kind of limited card or another power card that would just let me go off in the next turn. And just basically give my opponent a timeline. Either you kill me now, or I will kick the living hell out of you in the next turn. One Allure because it's great. One Charge on the Light Brigade because it's stupid. Dark Hole, this wins games. Future Fusion. Funny story is, on several occasions I found myself with this card being dead because I've milled that much. With the amount of milling that this deck has, Future Fusion's playability just kind of wanes as the game goes on. Early game it's awesome, but once you hit about 5 to 6 turns in, it's actually not that good. And I can see why the one that won in Europe didn't bother running this at all, because he had so much milling going on that a Darkness Metal was always going to be in the graveyard, a Pulsar Dragon probably was going to be in the grave, and just activating it would have been completely pointless, or you just did not have enough targets for it in the deck. Future Fusion is really good in a dragon deck that has 15 plus dragons, but if you're running 12 or less, it's a bit iffy. If you're running 10 or less, then don't bother entirely, because you've only got like a few turns to make it useful. Then one Heavy Storm, Foster Reborn, and Pot of Avarice. Oh my god, this card is terrible in here. I mean, yes, you mill a whole bunch, and you can like get shit back in your deck and draw again, but realistically speaking, you're only really running about 12 or less spells, so pardon me, aside from drawing more monsters again, I mean, I just really find that helpful, especially since like early to mid game it's dead, and then you've got like so much shit that's been removed from the game. It just really doesn't have any targets. I'd rather play something that's useful in all facets of the game, not just late. Now for the extra deck, and this is where changes are going to be coming in. First, one 5-headed dragon. He sometimes hits the field and does damage. Otherwise, though, he's just MST bait. Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, because it's always helpful, especially with Gear Gigas coming in later in the year and such forth. I mean, they've got like a popular OTK that's being experimented with. Scrap Dragon, it's always good. Pop your Pulsar to pop a card, and then that guy revives Darkness Metal, and you revive Pulsar, and it's just stupid. Stardust Dragon, yeah, he's just there. Ancient Fairy Dragon, Dark Worlds are still a popular deck, so it just helps popping that gates, and then maybe even bringing in Chaos Zone if you run it on your side, I don't know. Black Rose Dragon, made this a couple times. This card still can turn games around. People just do not expect a Black Rose as much as they used to. I mean, yeah, there's Starlight Road, but people only really main deck one, and if you've already gotten the Starlight Road out of the way, be it MST or Storm or such forth, then Black Rose is just going to go in and fuck shit up. Buranek, you know, this could very well be the next synchro that gets banned. But that's another day. Iron Chain, it's just there as a debris card. Orient Dragon, this is not actually that good of a card, I feel. With Synchro seeing less and less play, aside from a Stardust that just comes off a road, it's just not really as useful as I thought it'd be. I'm probably going to drop this for a Blackwing Dragon, because burn is always everywhere. I mean, Chain Burn topped again at the YCS Dallas, and it's on Dueling Network. Yeah, Blackwing Dragon just might be a better call. One Catastor, and then for the Xyz, one Levier. Leviathan, Gear Brilliant, Acid Golem, and Utopia. They're just kind of there to be there. I know for certain that in the next set, I will be putting in Queen Dragon, and then possibly Hieroglyphic King of Atom. I mean, Heretic Dragon and King of Atom. You know which one I mean. And you know what? I even have a side deck here, so I'll just show you guys it. It's 2 Crow, 2 Maxi, 2 Electric Virus. This is going to be seeing a lot of play now, as it just basically trolls Chaos Dragons, and it actually does a pretty decent job against, what you call it, Dino Rabbit, because their Seas monsters are dragons, so they make a Logia. You can just Electric Virus, take it, and then just remove it for Darkness Metal, and just troll. Double Cyber, Double Smash, Double Dust Tornado, and Triple Decree for back row heavy decks, because I don't like seeing my opponent summon Elemental Hero Stratos set for pass turn. And Decree just says, lol. And that's it for the deck. So, yeah. At this point, it's operating fairly decently. I mean, it could be better. Now that I've seen better, there are changes I do want to make. And I'll just continue to experiment with this deck for the next while. And as for what I think of it in the future, again, that's another video all entirely. So until the next time, folks, thank you for watching. Take care.